If you're anything like me, which could mean unmedicated ADHD and unmedicated OCD, it could mean having extreme niche interests like metal lunchboxes, which might be what got you here. But if you're anything like me, you may have heard about the Mandela effect because of the Berenstain Bears. Because a lot of us remember it being Berenstain with an E, not an A in our childhood, right? Berenstain Bears?
The Berenstain Bears.
The Mandela effect, as some of you might know, is a lot of people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison. Didn't happen. A lot of us remember Berenstain Bears having an E. It never happened. We remember the Monopoly Man having a monocle.
Fruit of the Loom, Fruit of the
Never happened. All of these collective misrememberings began with the Berenstain Bears. Why? Well, it was such a wildly successful franchise and made Stan and Jan Berenstain, which is the most made-up name ever, insanely rich. So rich that they funded the Large Hadron Collider, CERN, so they could smash atoms together. What they were really hoping to do was figure out a way to go back in time so they could create more ancestors to share their wealth. You see, it's kind of lonely at the top, and once they created this franchise, they had no children of their own. They just lived vicariously through the audience that their kids show had. They wanted to rewrite history. And so you know we're in a different timeline now because the A is present. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. If you don't know about the Mandela effect or you haven't heard about it, it's a very whimsical mental experiment, shall we say. But let's just get back into the Berenstain Bears. This lunchbox is dated 1983. That same year, aspartame was approved.
Behavioral difficulties and an increased risk of cancer. The more you know.
We know now that that is another cancer-causing sugar replacement. Why these chemicals keep making it in the food supply chain just to poison us? Questionable.
Artificial flavors and synthetic additives, they never hurt anyone, right?
Same year, red dye number 3 had undergone testing. We knew it caused thyroid cancer in rats and it had yet to be banned. Big cherry industry, believe it or not, is what kept red number 3 alive as long as it did. And red number 3 kept us alive a little bit shorter than it could have.
Red dye number 3 was banned in several countries after causing cancer in lab rats. America was not one of them.
Well, that surprises no one.
But you don't have any feet. Neither do you.
The Berenstain Bears were, what should I say, a perfect example of the atomic family. You had dad who worked, mom stayed in the kitchen and cooked, 2 kids that got into a little mischief and never did things wrong. They'd go on vacation here and there in the woods, but they were just like a really happy family. Dad, maybe was a little clumsy. No, he was definitely a little lazy though. He'd try to sleep. Kids would wake him up by jumping on him. Mom would be scolding them, make sure they washed behind the ears and drink their milk. They were into sports, hockey, hiking, swimming, football, baseball, biking. I mean, they were the perfect quintessential kids and a good epitome of what the American family was striving to be back in the 60s and 70s. Now, this lunchbox from 1983, and the origin of Berenstain Bears obviously predates that a little bit. But this lunchbox in particular, as you can tell from the edges, hasn't seen a lot of shelf life. There's a little bit of rubbing around the edges, but not too much. I mean, it's in really, really clean shape. Latch opens right up, and let's get inside the box, shall we? Inside, no thermos, no identifier, no toys, no mementos, no portal into another dimension, no vortex to take you into some time warp wormhole across the universe like the Large Hadron Collider fired up when the Mandela effect first replaced the E with an A in Berenstain Bears. I'm gonna give this lunchbox a little bit lower score than I normally would. If it had the E and it was Berenstain Bears, it would be a 10 out of 10. It'd be one of those mementos that we know the Mandela effect happened. But since it has the A, we know it's from this timeline, I give it a 6 out of 10. Thermos would definitely step it up a little bit. Having a contact number inside might help a little bit. And if you had one of these that you wrote your name in or you didn't, if you remember Berenstain Bears, it was part of your childhood, Maybe every day that you were out to lunch, you were chewing fat with Stan and Jan's creations here. Well, if you were, and if you remember Berenstain Bears, go ahead and reach out and let me know who you are, where you are, most importantly, when was the last time that you were out to lunch?